Welcome back, episode 1, Close on the Couch.
Here we go.
I'm Ethan Seitz, this is Cole Schiffer. We're here to talk ball. We're going to start, we got a full slate, we got WBC games, we got some previews. We got the Banished to the Island Player of the Week. I'm not sure we have to mention what island. I think that goes for pretty clear. And our Casting Couch Player of the Week. Only 2 games to go off of, that's okay. Cole, give me a rundown how the WBC games on Friday went.
Yeah, so Friday we started off real bright and early. I mean, Japan, Chinese Taipei, absolute slaughter. 13 to nothing. Don't even get through the full 9. Shohei's 3 for 4, grand slam, 5 ribbies. I mean, this guy was a triple shy of the cycle by second inning, I believe. I mean, hits an absolute piss missile to first base on his last at bat he had of the game, I think. First base is standing right there, just in a good spot. I think if it gets down, it gets through. Might have hit for the cycle in 7 innings, 6 innings. Second game, we had Netherlands, Venezuela. Really not much there. Netherlands just couldn't compete at all night. I mean, Venezuela had their number. We'll get into some of their star guys later. Cuba, Panama, not really much. I mean, kind of boring game. Former top prospect though, Yon Moncada, really showing out for his country. He loves Cuba. Then we went to Mexico, Britain. Again, Britain and Mexico. I mean, they're going at it, going back and forth, 2-2, going into the 7th. And then just lack of experience, lack of good ball players, I'm going to have to say. Just minor league guys just not being able to compete with the big dogs. Then we had, Puerto Rico, Colombia. Colombia playing perfect all the way up through 5, and then just collapse. Terrible. Done. Couldn't compete. Puerto Rico pulls out 5-0 with that one. Then we went to the Nicaragua, Dominican Republic. When I tell you this Dominican Republic team has so much aura, it is insane. Junior Caminero pimps a ball, and this place goes rocking. All right? Rocking. I do got to say, though, my guy, Chris Sanchez. Oh, brutal. Brutal. Gets hit around, doesn't even get through 2, gets through 1.1 innings, gives up 3. Thank God he had a good offense behind him, because if not, it was bad. And coming from a Phillies guy here, it was not what we wanted to see at all. And then we went to Brazil, USA. Talk about a way to start it off. First of all, when you're 3-0 to Aaron Judge, you just give the man his bag. You don't hang a goddamn meatball down the middle and let this guy rip one. But on the bright side for Brazil, their young 17-year-old pitcher, man, that Vulcan change was disgusting. If he gives up a hit the entire season in high school, he should be ashamed. He literally was dealing against some of the major league's best. I mean, you load the bases, I get it, but to get Judge to roll over, the one thing about Brazil's pitching, though, is if they could throw a strike, I don't know if their plan was to go in there and, have these guys chase. I mean, these guys are big leaguers. These guys were spitting on this thing all night long, coming out of their hand, not even thinking about a swing. I mean, 19 walks I think they had, 2 hit by pitches. Terrible. But Manny's son, 2 bombs. 2 bombs in that one. Big for them. And again, that was really Friday's games. Not much. The Dominican Republic team is electric. I mean, the minute they're on TV, it's must watch. It truly is.
Throwing it over to Saturday, Canada and Colombia. Canada won that one 8-2. Korea knocked off Japan, knocked off Korea. Shohei hit another home run. Japanese team looks scary. Seeing a lot of production from the lineup right now. We'll see how that continues. I think they're the clear favorite right now to walk through Pool C. Puerto Rico and Panama goes to extra innings. Not only have we not had a World Baseball Classic where we had a single walk-off home run, we got 2 of them on Saturday. Puerto Rico takes that one in 10 innings. Netherlands, Nicaragua, the next one to end in a walk-off home run. Shout out Ozzy Albies. Italy put the belt to Brazil. Dante Nori, shout out another Phillies guy. 3 for 3, 2 bombs. Have a day, kid. Wrap it up. U.S. knocks off Great Britain. Slow start for the Americans in that one. Lineup was pretty quiet until the air that guy, I believe is Ernie Clement, got on base. Follow that up, we had Chinese Taipei knock off Korea. Taking a look before we move on at the standings as they stand right now, 3:16 at the time of this recording. So there are games going on. Puerto Rico in Pool A is currently sitting at the top, 2-0 with Cuba behind them, also undefeated through 2 games. Canada through 1-0 through 1 game. Panama in fourth, 0-2, and Colombia 0-3 to start pool play. Pool B in Houston, USA 2-0 after their wins against Brazil and Great Britain. Italy 1-0, Mexico 1-0. I believe both those teams are still playing right now. And Great Britain and Brazil sit at the bottom at 0-2. Pool C in Tokyo, Japan 3-0, Australia 2-1, sitting in second place. That was a good game this morning. If you didn't check that one out, we might talk about that one a little later. Chinese Taipei 2-2 to finish their pool play. Korea 1-2, and Czech will have to qualify for the next tournament, falling it to 0-3 and in last place of Pool C. Finally, Pool D, the DR. Kind of anticipated sitting at the top right now, 2-0. Venezuela been a nice treat. We'll talk about them a little bit later. Netherlands at 1-2, Israel 0-1, a little bit of a beatdown, and Nicaragua at 0-2. So, as time of recording here, we got some scores going on. Right now in the top of the 7th, Great Britain is down to Italy 7-2. Shout out Jazz Chisholm, got his first hit at the tournament. We'll talk about that.
It's about time.
We'll talk about that one a little bit later. Looking through also Dominican. Finished off the Netherlands in 7 innings with a 11-run win.
Another walk-off home run.
Another walk-off home run, baby. Nothing like a mercy rule walk-off make yourself feel a little bit
in the
better.
7th.
Oh, gotta love it. Japan knocked off Australia like we talked about earlier. Actually a closer game than I think a lot of people were giving it credit for.
Very good game.
Australia ended up making that a 1-run game with 2 solo shots in the 9th inning. Still Japan able to close it out. And Cuba advances to 2-0, knocking off Colombia 7-4. So, let's dive into a couple of these games. We have a couple that I think we want to talk about here. First off, beginning with Mexico and Great Britain. Like you talked about, that was a 2-2 game through 7 innings, and Great Britain actually out-hit Mexico. I believe it was like 6-2, 7-2 through 7 innings.
I mean, I think we cursed them. We put out the tweet about it being a close game, and next thing you know, tragedy strikes. I mean, some of these teams, man, they just can't compete. Their pitching is just, they have 1 or 2 guys that can go, and then once they get deep into that pen, it's a collapse. It's a nightmare against big leaguers.
And that's kind of the theme we've seen with the tournaments in the past, but this year with having a lot more big league arms, especially not only big league arms, but elite big league arms, we thought that would be a little bit more of a change. Obviously, with some insurance issues, I don't believe that affected the pitchers as much, though.
And I don't even really think it affected either one of those teams.
No, not for those 2 teams. But Jonathan Aranda, solid big league. I believe last year was his rookie year. Solid year for him last year.
Yeah, he was All-Star, I believe, last year. He's one of the small bright spots for Tampa Bay. I mean, I think he's looking to have a good year. I think now being kind of knowing that he's going to be one of the top 2 guys on that team, I mean, he make a big splash this year.
It was an off season where they moved some pieces, Josh Lowe, Brandon Lau.
Yeah.
So he'll be certainly a big part of that lineup alongside with the guy we're going to talk about a little bit later that we all love. Javier Sadas also thought had a good start through this one. Not a lot of deep starts, the 65 pitch count.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys not even getting to that limit. But he went 3 2/3, struck out 2, allowed 2 hits and 1 walk. Yeah. Anything else to add for that one?
No, I mean, I didn't get to really watch much of this game. I mean, I turned it on, it's 2-2. I turn it back on a couple minutes later, and next thing you know, it's broken up. The game's out of here. I mean, Great Britain had a chance to really, I believe, break this game open. Sending them and testing Randy's arm is just something you don't do. You got to trust your guys. You got to trust your guys. I mean, it wasn't deep. The dude's got a cannon. You can't do that. You can't do it. I get make him make a play, but...
And he got that ball. I don't think the runner even made it to third base. And I
He
don't
was
the third base coach wasn't even waving him home. He was waving him home by the time the guy was already rounding.
yeah, like I
So
mean,
he was leaving it up.
Kurt caught the ball and pretty much waited for him.
Yeah.
He waited for him to come. So
No pause.
just
Nicaragua 3, Dominican Republic 12. This actually started out. If you checked our Twitter, this was our best bet play of the weekend. Dominican Republic -4.5. Started out rough. Christopher Sanchez strikes out the first batter. Guess what? He's still on base on the drop third.
my guy.
Single walk, a run home. Ended up striking out 3 in a row. First time in World Base. A lot of firsts in this World Baseball Classic.
Yeah.
First inning with 4 punch outs for a pitcher. Shout out our guy. He ended up getting things done, taking care of business a little bit.
Oh.
Ended up getting back out for the second inning after getting out of the first, and then fell apart again a little bit. Not
I mean,
the greatest
again,
start.
I look at it like not a lot of hard hit balls. That's the bright side of it to me. I mean, it wasn't like he was getting ripped. There were a lot of soft contact. I mean, it's just you live with it sometimes. Like some days they got you, and they didn't. Honestly, I think the craziest part about it was that it really wasn't any other big one or two big guys for Nicaragua. It was a bunch of randoms, honestly. A bunch of low minor league guys that were just getting hits on him. And again, weak contact, which then brings in runs. But I mean, I think that drop third strike to start the game just it kills it. It kills you. It really does.
They were throwing out the owl lineup because every time somebody came up to the plate, I said, who?
Yeah.
Uh,
yeah. Yeah.
So, getting out after that, I think even Nicaragua, their only real big leaguer is
Mark
from the Mark Vientos from the
Mark
Mets.
Vientos. And if you want to talk about prospect, you had what? Jeter Downs.
Is Jeter Downs a prospect anymore? I remember wasn't he
was.
traded to the Marlins when Derek Jeter was still there?
Yeah. I mean, dude was supposed to be something. Dude became same as us.
Also touching on this, Junior Caminero is just absolute electricity to watch.
I
on
mean,
baseball
look,
field.
we had a fantasy draft last night. Yeah, I took him in the first round. This guy is incredible. Incredible. It's a shame that he's on the Tampa Bay Rays and that they're not going to give him his money and he's going to go play in a place like New York or a big city. I mean, I hope they pay him. But this guy is electric. I mean, 40 bombs last year. He's been hitting well, and then you put the country on his chest, and this guy just turns it up to another notch. I mean, electric.
You could give me just a highlight reel watching his home run trots. I mean, the helmet flew off when he was rounding second base. He stops and stares at his own dugout. Oh my goodness! Not to mention Manny Machado also having 2 elite back-to-back, dare I say, vintage Machado plays where he just ran down the third baseline, picks it all in one motion, the underhand throw. Oh my goodness, man!
Incredible.
Throwback classic Manny. Looked on me when he was in an O's uniform.
I mean, this guy gets hate through and through, but this guy is elite. I mean, he's top tier defensively, offensively. It's insane to watch.
I don't know if he even gets as much hate anymore. I feel
I
like
don't
him and
think
Harper,
anymore.
when they came up, they were both guys who were seen as a little immature and hot-headed. But now you see them; they're classic get to business vets, I think.
Yeah.
And let's address one more thing. We talked about the -4.5. It didn't look good until like the 8th inning, where you get Oneil Cruz putting a ball in the back wall in right field in Miami. Absolute laser beam.
Tank.
Stood there, didn't watch it, just looked in his dugout. Stood there for about 5 seconds, then started running.
Cold.
Absolute piss rocket. Love the guy. If I'm a Pirates, I don't know if that's one of my key pieces. I still need to see a little bit more. Maybe this is the year he finally puts it together.
Hopefully.
Kind of the same deal with Ellie De La Cruz, but moving on, Brazil. We touched on this one already. A couple storylines. We had Joseph Contreras, the high schooler, throwing 97. Gets Aaron Judge to roll into a double play. How's that for a World Baseball Classic debut?
Vulcan change was disgusting. That thing was nasty.
Second inning that he came in, you could see the adrenaline dump a little bit. Fastball got down to about 94, where it was sitting at about 97, 98.
Yeah.
But And the commentary team, I hate to say this, like they made it seem like he's just some schmuck high schooler. This is a guy who's committed to Vandy. This is a guy who's going to be a first or second round pick.
He's
Like
not even going to
this
go to
isn't a
Vandy.
slouch. Yeah, he's probably not going to make it to Vandy. You're
He's
right,
not even
but
going to make it there.
at the same time, making it sound like I get that he was it is one thing he's facing a lineup of all stars and MVPs, but
Yeah.
I did think they should have included a little more about that. This is not a guy who's just some pushover high schooler. They
He's
just
the
picked him
real.
off the street.
He's legit. He's legit.
And Angels prospect Lucas Ramirez, he talked about it. 2 home runs. First one off Logan Webb. That was a really good swing on a sinker that kind of just hung over the middle of the plate. Other than that, I think we talked. It was kind of a boring game. A lot of walks. Brazil just did not really challenge. I think they figured after Aaron Judge was swinging 3-0 and put a ball in the seats in the first inning,
Yeah.
probably ended any idea to challenge him.
I mean, this whole game, ball, ball, ball. I don't know if their game plan was to go in there and get these big leaguers to chase, but I'll tell you, it did not work. I mean, they spit on everything. Like, there were pitches that were close, and you could see that these big leaguers for USA just did not care. That ball wasn't even to them. It wasn't even close. I mean, stand up there with the bat on your shoulders and you were walking. But another one that we didn't talk about, Bryce Terang really broke the game open. Super underrated. I mean, bases loaded, rips one off the opposite field wall. I mean, it's crazy that when Bryce Terang is batting 9 and not to your normal fan is going, who's this Bryce Terang fella? And he's an all-star in this league. One of the best second basemen in the game.
You hear so much about Ketel Marte. Yeah, Bryce Harang's a name that you really got, especially fantasy baseball.
Yeah.
He's a good pickup for you if you're looking for a fantasy second baseman.
Yeah.
Moving on, only really one thing to touch on with this Canada-Colombia game from yesterday. Now that we're done with the Friday games, Owen Cassie hits a solo blast, I believe it was. Comes into the dugout, high fives all around. Hot mic, everybody loves a good hot mic moment. In the dugout, yells, "He hung the shit out of it." He's correct that it was a
Very-
heartbreaking ball.
very
He put it in
hung.
the seats. That's really all I had. Everybody loves a good hot mic moment.
Yeah.
It's just great. It's great television. Talking about Panama and Puerto Rico. This was a really electric game. I mean, it didn't look great. Puerto Rico, one of the teams that really got, like we were talking about earlier, experienced the downside of all the insurance issues.
Yeah.
Losing guys like Francisco Lindor, definitely not something that helps the roster.
And Carlos Correa.
And Carlos Correa, not something that helps the roster, but going into the ninth inning down 1, end up getting some walks. Alberto Baldano, I believe, correct me if I'm saying that wrong, pitcher for Panama, comes in, I believe it was against Willie Castro. 4 straight balls with the bases loaded, walks in the tying run. Daryl Hernandez,
Yes.
walk-off home run, second one of the day. Like we said, none in tournament history to begin with. No walk-off home run in World Baseball Classic history. We got 2 on Saturday. How's that for showing up?
What a treat.
If you're ready to move on, we got our banished to the island player of the week. Don't gotta mention what this island is.
These guys
Cole,
gotta
you want to
to
go
the
first?
island. Oh my God! Don't get me wrong. There was some honorable mentions for this one for me. Dante Bichette Jr. Honorable mention. This dude has let down Brazil. Again, a team not filled with a lot of superstar power, but one guy headlining it was Dante Bichette Jr. He has done nothing. But somebody who I think has let their team down just a tiny bit more. Nicaragua's Mark Vientos. Who brutal tournament right so far. 0 for 8, 3 punchies. He's even grounded into at least 1 double play, might be 2 at this point. I mean, a team that you're not expecting to do much, but you're the superstar of the team. You're the major league guy. You can't come out and bat 0 for 8 for your team, for your country. At this point, it's like, do you love your country? Are you even trying out there? I mean, 0 for 8 with 3, at least it's only 3 punch outs. The rest you are putting the ball in play, but again, it's like fly ball to shortstop, fly out of foul ball, fly out. I mean, just terrible. If Nicaragua could have a plane ticket for him, they'd be sending him to the island and leaving him there, I think.
I like that pick. Mine, I went with Great Britain's own Jazz Chisholm. Now, at the time of recording here, he does have his first hit. When I started making these picks, it was before the game started today. He does have a hit against Italy. Currently, now he sits at 1 for 12 with 6 punchies. After going into his press conference saying we're gonna shock some people, people aren't watching out for Great Britain.
He shocked
They're
us,
not
all right.
watching for they're not watching for you, buddy. They're watching, if anything, they're watching for Harry Ford, who really kept them in that Mexico game, that solo
Yeah.
shot. But he's been a good guy to watch play in the WBC. Is Harry Ford?
Yeah.
I like a guy to keep your eye on. Shame he won't get as much playing time with Seattle this season, but.
Oh,
And now for
Jazz.
our casting couch player of the week. These guys stood out among the rest. Small sample size, only through 2 games. Some teams through 3 or 4. But for mine, I selected Luis Arias. 5 for 8 to this point. 7 RBIs, 2 homers, 2 doubles. All of those are tied for the lead going into Sunday at least. Tied for the lead in the tournament. All of those extra base hits, this is cheating a little bit, came against Israel. But he did have a couple big RBIs in their first game for Venezuela. It was a team that's a little bit surprising coming in their second place right now behind the Dominican Republic in their pool.
Yeah, I mean, you put Venezuela on that man's chest, and somehow he turns to Barry Bonds. He's hitting bombs out of nowhere. This guy has 0 pop throughout the entire 162, but the minute Venezuela and that yellow goes on his chest, it's insane how much pop he has.
Speaking of Barry Bonds, nobody wanted this guy in the entire offseason. Buster Posey calls him up. He's going to be a San Francisco Giant. Interesting spot to watch this year. That infield, Matt Chapman, Rafi Devers, not Willie Castro. What am I
Willie
talking
Adames.
about? Willie Adames. Interesting infield to keep an eye
They also have
on.
Bryce
see-
Eldridge. I mean, they were
Bryce
high on
Eldridge,
him
he
last year.
could make the opening day roster. We'll see how that turns out. And who's your player?
Casting
First 2 days
couch
of the
player of the
tournament?
week for me was Sam Aldegheri. Last night he threw for Italy in their first game. I mean 4.2. That's probably one of the highest we've seen somebody throw. 1 hit, 2 walks, 8 Ks, which does lead the WBC. I think that's huge for this Italy team. I think second place right now in that pool is open. And I think it's theirs to win. Uh, I think that that Italy team is sneaky underrated. They have a lot of major league players. I think almost their entire roster is major league players. I mean, these guys can play, and for him to go out there and probably be their ace to 2 guy with Nola. I mean, he looked good for him, and he closed the door, put his team in a great spot to win. So.
Speaking of Italy, they are still at the end of the 7th inning, up 7-2 right now
Yeah.
over Great Britain. Great Britain on the verge of dropping to 0-3. Italy would improve to 2-0. So we're gonna go through some over/unders that we like for our win totals this year. We're gonna start out this week doing the Eastern divisions on both sides of the American and the National League. Starting out, Philadelphia Phillies win total right now, according to FanDuel Sportsbook, over under 89.5. This offseason added Adolis Garcia, Jonathan Bowen, Brad Keller, and Kyle Backus. Lost Ranger Suarez, Max Kepler, not a big threat, but Nick Castellanos and Matt Strom. If you want to count Johan Rojas
I
as a
believe he's
loss,
appealing. So
I think he's appealing. I don't know if that's
might
gonna
win
pass,
it, might
but
not.
some interesting things about this Phillies team this year is some of the new prospects being able to get a chance. After losing Ranger Suarez, Andrew Painter maybe stepping into one of those starting roles. Interesting look for him. 2 years removed from Tommy John last year. Not a great look for him at AAA, but I think people need to cut him some slack a little bit. Like you said, last year, first year back, throwing in real innings, coming off Tommy John, still just 22 years old. I believe maybe even 21 if I'm incorrect on that.
Yeah, 21, 22. Might be
Yeah.
22 now.
As well as some drama between Bryce Harper and Dave Dombrowski. Everybody loves a little star player and GM drama after Dave Dombrowski said he's not quite sure if Bryce Harper's elite anymore. Not a guy you want to give a chip on your shoulder, but when it's coming from your own GM. I'm not sure if that plays the same as a couple years back with the Orlando Arcia situation. Probably not the same type of chip. We'll see how that plays out. We're
Yeah.
still also trying to figure out Zach Wheeler's status. He's been throwing some innings in spring training. He's a big part of that rotation. Without him, that rotation does not look as strong. Sanchez, Lazardo heading into a contract year, Aaronola trying to prove he deserves that big extension, and like we said, maybe sliding in Andrew Painter or Taijuan Walker.
Hmm.
Not as good of a rotation without a Zach Wheeler in there. Cole, who are we saying? What are we saying over under on 89.5 games?
So 89.5. I mean, they had what, 94 wins, I believe, last year. Uh, I want to say over with my heart, but my mind's telling me the under on 89. I think it's a little too high. This is a team where I think they could easily win the division. I think the Matt Ranger was really your only big loss there, and I think your pitching might take a step back. But at the end of the day, you could have guys step up. Like they need Sanchez to throw like he did last year. They need Nola to even year Nola. I mean, we've seen it before. He's finished top five in Cy Young. He's got the votes. If they can get him on track, I mean, Andrew Painter's looked nice through spring training for them. He's dealing. I don't think he's given up a run yet so far. Um, but yeah, I mean, with Adolis Garcia, you sit there and you want to love the pickup, but at the end of the day, you sit there and go, did we get rid of Nick to replace it with Nick? Only time will tell. I do like the
That
Brad
depends if he's
Keller
gonna
pickup.
be. That depends if he's gonna be drinking a beer in the dugout.
Look, let them. We should have just let the man drink the Presidente. I mean,
Nah, strict rules down there in
what,
MLB.
what does a man need to do to enjoy a brew on the dugout with the boys? I mean, God
You'd think
forbid,
that'd be
right?
mandatory.
So, but this team is very just. It's weird. It's very weird. The Harper whole thing. You just don't say that about your superstar. You gotta this man. If Harper would have batted 100 last year, you still have to go out there and say the superstar face of your franchise for the last 7 years has been elite, or
This
you
isn't a
still
guy who's
even
in a contract year either.
yeah,
This is a guy
or
you
even a
have locked
guy
down
that
to 2031, I believe.
you need to sit there and you need to ride for him. You can sit there and stir the pot because again, maybe when he was 19, I think the pot might have been stirred. Little chip on your shoulder. He's a vet now. He's been in the league for how many years? I think this is year like 14 or 15. I mean, he's in his 30s. This guy is going out there and he's just trying to ball. I mean, I think the only way you truly break this drama with Bryce is you got to go out and you got to give him that short-term extension that he's been asking for. You just have to now there's going to be a weird tension there between him and Dave. Now you got to make things right. I think you got to go out and you got to give him that 2 or 3 year extension he wants to get him to play into his 40s. Make him happy. You got to keep the guy happy. He brought a pulse to this city. You need to make the guy happy. I mean, he's helped bring in Schwarber. He's helped keep Wheeler here. He's helped bring Trey here. We got to take care of this guy. And talking shit on him, I just don't think is the best call for him. But 89.5, I think it's a little too high for this team. I would love for them to go out and kill it and win the division, but I think this division can be very deep this year. I think they could slip into the playoffs with a wild card at roughly about like 87 to 88 wins.
I think I see about the same thing. I think it's close. I don't think it's
Hmm.
basically asking the question of do you think this is a 90-win team? I think with the rotation status, you're one injury away from Taijuan Walker throwing meaningful innings in a regular season. After last year, you get rid of Mick Abel. He was a guy who could have stepped up in this spot. Obviously, I still like the trade to get your lockdown ninth inning
Yeah.
guy, but I would agree. Yeah, I think this is an 88, 87, maybe 86 win team. I still think I don't know about the division. I think they're a guaranteed wild card team, but yeah, I think the East is open enough that they can make a run
Hmm.
for it. So, next up, moving into the New York Mets. Their line set over under 90.5 wins. Added in Luis, a bit, really, I think the only way to describe this offseason is weird for them, but they were probably the busiest team this offseason. Added in Luke Weaver, Luis Robert, Devin Williams, Jorge Polanco, Freddie Peralta, Bo Bichette. Took off some fan favorites like Jeff McNeil, Brandon Nimmo, Edwin Diaz, Pete Alonso. Some things to watch out for. Nolan McLean, I've seen a lot of people claim that they want him to be their number two. I think he has number two potential. I don't think he needs to be that guy this year. You added in an ace in Freddie Peralta. You have guys like Kodai Senga. You have guys like David Peterson coming off maybe his best year of his career. I think it's putting a lot of pressure on a young kid. We'll see. He's going to be throwing high pressure, high leverage situations in the WBC, slated to schedule the championship game, or to throw in the championship game should the United States get there. So we'll get an early look at him in high leverage situations. Another thing to look at, how do they rebound from that humiliating playoff collapse? All you needed to do was defeat the Miami Marlins, game 162. Couldn't get the job done. Let the Cincinnati Reds sneak into the playoffs. For me, looking at the 90.5 win total, it depends on that rotation. How does Nolan McLean do? You're relying. It's kind of the same situation with the Phillies. You're relying on some young guys. You're relying on Luis Robert, who hasn't really played meaningful baseball in at least a couple of years of his career, being with the Chicago White Sox. And the bullpen guys are bringing in. I know you lost Edwin Diaz. That was your lockdown closer. Devin Williams, not coming off a good year. Luke Weaver, didn't look as good in the playoffs. It's a dicey situation. For the pure fact that I'm gonna say over, because if it's the under, I'm happy as a clam. I get to see the Mets downfall. Love to see it. If it's over, I win some money.
Yeah, this one is just so weird to me. It was just I feel like they sat there and were just like, look how much money we have. To go out there and get a guy like Polanco and Bichette and then play him out of positions, at positions where they're not great defenders to begin with, to be able to just throw around and then put them in positions they've never played. It's just very strange to me. Don't get me wrong, I think Polanco coming off probably his best year of his career, and again another 300 year from Bichette. Your offense is there, but again, what you can hit ground balls at Bichette all day. I've seen his videos he's been taking. Some of it looks bad. It looks bad, him playing third base. So it'll be very interesting. I am a true believer in Nolan McLean. I think he is disgusting, and it kills me to say it. But I
We
think
watched him carved up the Phillies at the end of the season last year.
I
It was an elite curveball. It's good velo fastball.
You say you don't know if he has to be the two. I think he does. I do. I don't trust Kodai Senga. He's never healthy. He's been healthy 1 year, and yes, he was a Cy Young. He got votes, but he hasn't shown that since. For me, 90.5, I think in this division is still very high. I want the under. I love the under. I think 90 is a little too high, and I don't think they're even one of the. I don't think they're going to win the division either. I think the next team we're going to talk about will win the division.
Speaking of the next team, we're going to talk about the Atlanta Braves over under 87.5. Additions, big additions in some areas, some that are going to be bigger now that we know some things we'll get into. Robert Suarez, Mike Yastrzemski, traded for Mauricio Dubon. Let's just break the wall here. Is Jurickson Profar a worse guy than Reese McGuire?
There's a chance. There's truly a chance. Depending on how you look at it. He might be worse.
Those that are unfamiliar, Reese McGuire pleasured himself in a parking lot. I believe it was a Planet Fitness parking lot. I could be wrong on that. Don't ask me how I know those
Something
details.
like that.
Jurickson Profar, coming off the best year of his career, and I believe it was 2024, gets a contract with the Atlanta Braves for 3 years, 2025 season, suspended for PEDs last year, 82 games. Going into this year, last year he said, I would never do such a thing. It was an accident. I would never intentionally cheat. Guess what, buddy? Caught again. 162 now. Full season, done.
He thought to himself, never twice. Never twice.
I've never seen it twice.
He's never seen it twice until now. He had to be the first.
If FanDuel wants to really put their nuts on the line, make an offer next year. Will Jurickson Profar get caught 3 years in a row?
I'm taking it. I love those
I know
odds.
I'll slam that line. Never thrice.
Never.
But yeah, and supposedly left his teammates. I believe he was playing for the Netherlands in the World Baseball Classic. Just left, tried to flee the country. So yeah, leave us a comment down below. Do you think Jurickson Profar is a worse guy than Reese McGuire? I think it's a fair question to be begged.
Yeah.
Uh, with that, like we said, Mikey Stremski probably going to be getting more innings now that Jurickson Profar is supposed to be a big part of that lineup. That outfield of him, Michael Harris, and Acuna now turns into Yastrzemski maybe sliding into that role. Interesting story to keep an eye on. Last thing I want to touch on, I don't know what it's been. Maybe it's just my chain of my algorithm. I have seen so much Chris Sale hype this year. Just coming off, got the extension this offseason. Am I skeptical? Am I wrong? You answer me. Am I wrong to be skeptical of age 37 season Chris Sale with his injury history?
I,
You
I
tell
don't
me.
think I don't think you're wrong. I don't, but I do believe he will be a key piece to them winning this division. I I I think Chris Sale is disgusting, and I think last year they kind of got to a point where let's just kind of sit him down. Let's just make sure he doesn't get a real injury late in this year because again, late into the year they weren't really playing for much. They knew they were out. So 37, yeah, he's getting old. He's had this whole history of injuries, but I mean, last year was weird. Was a weird year just for the team in general, which I think is why we also sit back and are a little skeptical. But I mean, again, the year before, the dude was nasty, uh, disgusting. I think this team as a whole is going to make it a big jump, even with the loss of Jurickson Profar and Ozuna from the Braves. But I truly think that there's a chance of big comeback for this team.
Uh, Also, not something to overlook injuries to Spencer Schwellenbach. He's on the 60-day IL right now, as well as Hurston Waldrep.
Yeah.
So two big blows to two guys who could be middle of the rotation guys. I'm gonna say over. I like the idea of this team bouncing back. Maybe they win 90 games. I think, obviously, Jurickson Profar being out. Maybe also, how did he pass a drug test in 2024, coming off the best season of his career? Like, you can't tell me that's not a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. We won't get into that. But I'm going
Yeah.
to say over on the Atlanta Braves, 87.5 game win total. Think that they should be definitely some team that's not overlooked to win that division. Moving on, the
Mhm.
Miami Marlins, 72.5 games over under win total. Looking at it, do you think this is the year that we finally see Sandy moved out of Miami?
Yeah, yeah, I do. I think this team has very little there. I mean, they have a couple guys in Kyle Stowers, again, big year for him. Jacob Marcy came out of nowhere kind of to not the most normal baseball fan. He had a very good year, but again, you're putting a lot of trust in a guy like Sandy who probably had the worst year of his career last year. You dished out Edward Cabrera. I mean, you're really putting a lot of trust in a mediocre offense led by a couple guys that are good, but then you're also believing in a young pitcher who came off of a Cy Young about 2 years ago, I believe, that when he came in, he looked good, then he didn't look great. I mean, I think 72.5 is too high for this team, but
You think they lose over 90 games?
I
That's
do.
the projection.
I think they will. I think halfway throughout the year you're gonna see Sandy go. I mean, I don't know where he's gonna go, but somebody's gonna be needing a right-handed pitcher that's gonna try and make a playoff push, or know they're going to make the playoffs. And I truly think that Sandy's gone, and this team is just gonna go into a full entire rebuild.
I know I've said over already for a couple of these teams, but I'm gonna take the over. I like a little friskiness out of that ball club. Guy I want to watch out for this year, Connor Norby. Big fan of what Connor Norby does. I think he could be a productive big leaguer. I think this is the year he takes a step into being a starting caliber player on the infield. But I'll take the over. I could see this team getting frisky and being playing meaningful games into maybe July, which isn't saying very much, but
At least you
I can
made it
see
that
this
far.
team. Yeah, at least you made it that far. That's all we can say. Moving on, Washington Nationals added in Gavin Feen in that big trade for Mackenzie Gore. Um, I don't actually even have down the Nationals over under win total for this season. But do you want to talk about how long this makes the rebuild? I mean, do we think that
Yeah,
you had some pieces? You have James Wood. You have some guys that look good. Dylan Cruz, I know, struggled last year, but a guy that coming into his second year, you're looking to take that next step forward. How long do you think is this a rebuild now that goes on 3 more years? Or do you think they can maybe acquire some more pieces?
I the thing is that they just don't have anything to really trade. I mean, you had Soto a couple years ago. You traded him for at the time a good package, and you really, I mean, Mackenzie Gore looked good at times. He really has. But then you trade him for Gavin Feen, which I don't believe he's probably going to play this year in the bigs. I'd be surprised. I know he was just a recent draft pick, so he's probably going to be down in the farm system. Again, you have James Wood, but if that's the guy you're going to build around, you need to start you need to start doing a better job with everything else. I mean, CJ Abrams, he's just like me. He loves going out to the casino late at night. Like, you got to be out there playing shortstop. I mean, at one point, I know he led. I don't remember if it was last year or the year before. He led the league at one point in errors. Like, this team just doesn't really have a lot, in my opinion. Um, Again, I look at the roster. Cade Cavalli actually looked pretty good last year. He was like, again,
Good story, Kate Cavalli. Good
yeah,
story of a
like
guy
it was a
bouncing
good
back.
bounce back year for the guy. So I'm hoping that he continues to make progress with that and become a better pitcher and really be an ace for this team. But I don't really see anything besides James Wood. Like, this team is just James Wood.
Here's my follow up question to that. We said how long does this make the rebuild? We talked about them losing Mackenzie Gore. I'm gonna read you off their current starting rotation right now. You tell me, is this the worst rotation in baseball? Cade Cavalli, Miles Michaelis, Jake Irvin, Foster Griffin, and Brad Lord.
I think there's a fair chance it could be. I mean, not knowing the rest of them, thinking off the top of my head, I think the Cardinals could probably have one that's just as bad.
Dustin May, at least.
Yeah,
He's got
but
potential.
I mean, yeah, back in like 2020, I mean, that would have been sick. I mean, but this, I mean, when Miles Michaelis is your two, there's some
Uh,
problems on there.
Over under Nationals, 64 and a half wins.
Yeah, I think this is an under. I
I
do.
th- I think this is a 100 loss team pretty easily.
Yeah, I think this division is. I think it's very top heavy. Where your two bottom teams this year are just not even going to be competitive with many teams this year. I mean, especially the Nationals. I think there's a chance that they could be fighting for the worst team in baseball, which means they'll probably go and win 120 games. But
Be
I
a
mean,
wild
I
card team.
I don't see this team winning much.
Moving on, we've covered the entire National League East. It's time to move on to the AL East, starting off with the New York Yankees. I want you to remember this number for later on. 90 and a half is their over under win percentage. The only real valuable addition here this year was Ryan Weathers, lost out on Luke Weaver and Devin Williams. Obviously made the extension to Paul Goldschmidt, to Cody Bellinger. I want to ask what they were doing all offseason.
I don't know. I
Maybe
don't
they
know
were
if
taking a CJ Abrams going to the casino.
they
All that
might
money.
have. I mean, this team is good. This is a very good baseball team. Don't get me wrong, but you're the New York Yankees. You need to show your money. You need to go out. You need to spend. Unless if they're thinking deep down, look, we didn't really want Tucker. We didn't really want a lot of these guys on our team. We just didn't think they would fit well. Then sure, I get it, but I mean Ryan Weathers he was a good arm last year. So that's gonna help the rotation a little bit, but offensively, you're pretty much just running it back.
Do you think that this is a team that can win the with the returning pieces that can win the AL East?
I truly do. I think you get back a Garrett Cole this season. Um, I think he's going to go back because it's been about a year and a half probably that he's been out with this Tommy John. So
I
I
believe he won't
truly,
be on the opening day roster, if I'm correct.
yes, I believe it's like June or July he might return. So I feel like if they can keep it competitive in this division, I think getting him back, and again, like they had a pretty good rotation. They found Cam Schlittler, who came through for them in big games late in the season, especially in the postseason. I mean, sitting at 90 and a half, I'm going to be honest, I think they're my favorite to win the NL East, so I think I would take the over on the Yankees 90 and a half. Um I think this lineup is good enough to win you games. I think Aaron Judge is the greatest hitter I've ever watched with my own eyes. I mean, he's going to go out there, he's going to hit you 60 bombs. Um I think it might come up to your outfield play. If Trent Grisham can have another big year for them, that'll be big. That'll be huge for this team. But again, they got to figure something out with Volpe. He's got to do something for this team if they want to win
Th-
big games.
Does a 91 or 91 plus win team have Jose Caballero starting at shortstop?
I think to start the year, I think they might be able to get away with it. I mean, this guy obviously can get on base. He led the league in stolen bases last year. I think if he just knows that he has to play his role, and again, I think this is a team that's going to make moves at the deadline late in the season. Again, their pitching I think is going to be huge though. Losing Devin Williams and Luke Weaver to them, I don't think really meant much. Those guys were kind of hurting you late game. Like
Like we
this
said,
Yankees team.
they weren't good playoff performers last year.
Yeah, I mean Devin Williams. It was almost all year.
Yeah.
Devin Williams really wasn't good all year. I mean, probably could have added almost 10 wins onto this team last year if it wasn't for Devin Williams and blown saves. It feels like.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the under. I think that this is an 88-89 win team. Like I think 90 and a half. I think this is a team that probably the over under should be set right at where the Phillies is at. Is this a 90 win ball club?
Hmm.
I think there's too many, like, you know what you're gonna get out of Aaron Judge. You know what you're gonna get probably out of a Cody Bellinger. But I think Ben Rice is in for a big year. I think there's some pieces though. Like I said, Ryan McMahon is your third baseman. Jazz Chisholm. We said about his struggles. He's coming off a great year, but
Hmm.
I think he's not necessarily a problem. I'm saying I think that bullpen's a little bit sketchy. I think that rotation will be better once Garrett Cole comes back and Carlos Rodon, the guy we had talked about. But I think this is an 88 to 89 win ball club. I don't think that they break that 90 mark. I think the next team we're going to talk about is the team that walks away with the AL East. That would be the Boston Red Sox. Pretty busy offseason over there for the the Red Sox. Adding in Wilson Contreras, Ranger Suarez, Sonny Gray, and Caleb Durbin. Losing Alex Bregman in the process, as well as the last two pieces remaining in the Rafael Devers deal, Jordan Hicks and Kyle Harrison. I want you, quick first thought that comes to your head, with all the pieces gone from the Rafael Devers deal, give it a grade.
For the Boston Red Sox, it's an F.
You got yourself,
I
I believe they traded away one of the pieces in that deal for half a season of Dustin May.
Yeah,
That was
I mean,
one of
I
their deadline guys, as well as you got Caleb Durbin back.
like. Why did you trade him? You should have just released him at that point. You literally
It's a
got
fair
nothing.
argument.
Like you got nothing for a guy who truly has superstar potential.
And he didn't have a terrible year last year. I believe still an
No.
OPS over 800. Uh, Next thing to talk about this team is we talked about it all year last year. We talked about it all off season. Why, with all these trades, why is all these outfielders still here? Roman Anthony, Jaron Duran, Wilyer Abreu. I think I'm even forgetting some guys, but
Masataka
why are
Yoshida?
Masataka Yoshida? You have a deep outfield, but you still have some holes on the infield. I know they addressed that with Caleb Durbin. there was rumors that they wanted to do a package for Ketel Marte, including one of those young pitching prospects, Peyton Toole, was one that was mentioned. But the issue was they did not want to give up Marcelo Meyer, which to me is a questionable decision when you look at you're a win now team. You traded for Caleb Durbin. Is Marcelo Meyer really the guy you think is the future?
I think he is. I think I think he's that. I think he's going to be that good. I do. I think where another way the reason Boston Red Sox went wrong was giving that extension to Christian Campbell.
It's hindsight to say, but at the time he was doing great.
He,
You lock him
yeah,
up on a cheap deal right after he got that extension. I mean, he didn't see
hasn't
Major League
seen the big
Baseball. I think
since.
after May, since May last year.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, it's one where you sit there and you're like, again, this team is probably one of the best teams in baseball. They have, I think, in my opinion, the best rotation in baseball. I think they have a very good outfield that they can move around guys, and they do have pieces that they're missing in the infield. But I think Marcelo Meyer kind of covers that third base position that you lost Bregman in.
or they can even have Durbin play there and keep Meyer at his natural position of second base.
Yeah,
Um, Other thing I wanted to add here, like you said about with the rotation, I think I'm going to put my nuts on the line a little bit here and say Garrett Crochet wins the AL Cy Young. I'm
I,
also going
I
to put my nuts on the line and say Roman Anthony gets MVP votes in the American League. I don't think he's
neither
going to win
one
it
would
because I
surprise
think
me.
every year it's Aaron Judge's award to lose at this point, just with the reputation he's built for
Yeah.
consistently having these types of seasons. But I think Roman Anthony gets MVP votes. I think that this team wins the American League East. 87 and a half wins. Obviously, I'm saying the over. What's your verdict?
I'm also taking the over. I think this is a team that's a couple of games behind the Yankees. We're seeing a big rivalry throughout the entire year from the first game all the way to 162. I don't. I see these guys throwing blows back and forth all year with each other. I mean, adding Sonny Gray, adding Ranger, that rotation is nasty. I mean, Brian Bayo's your five, which again, Brian Bayo didn't have a great year last year, but I still think Brian Bayo's a very good pitcher. He's shown a lot of hope. Um, I mean, again, I think it's going to come down to how good are we going to see Aroldis Chapman this year? Is he going to be elite like he was last year? How is this offense going to be? I think there's going to be times where it might be shaky, but I truly think this team is an over 87 win team. I think they could be right around 89 to almost 90 wins, where the Yankees could finish at almost 94, just like they did last year.
Another guy I forgot in that outfield, Sedan Rafaela. Big fan.
Another star.
So with the Red Sox over 87 and a half, that brings us to the team that, at least Vegas wise, is favored to finish in dead last. The Tampa Bay Rays added in Gavin Lux in a 3-team deal. They have to be involved in everything. Lost out Josh Lowe, Brandon Lau, and Shane Baz. At this point, one of my big things I've been watching out for is Shane McClanahan hasn't thrown a full season since 2024, I believe. What do you think about him returning to form this year? And do you think that this team has enough to not finish in last in the American League East?
I've been a big believer in Shane McClanahan. I think his stuff is very good. I do. I just don't think this team has much outside of Mr. Electric himself, Junior Caminero. They have Aranda, who we talked about earlier. McClanahan's are like he's a good pitcher. We don't know how he's going to actually be when he comes back as a full time, once every 5 days starter again, because Tommy John is a scary thing for a guy to get. You don't know how they're going to come back from it. But I just don't really see this team with much. I don't. I mean, they have. Are you going to bring up Chandler Simpson? Is he going to be able to get some lift on the ball? They had Carson Williams last year who showed up late to the season, and he was all right. He did his thing, but there's a lot of holes I feel like on this team that they need to go, and I think one is their pitching. They also lost. Did they lose Fairbanks this offseason as well?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
big piece of
mean,
that bullpen.
yeah, I believe they still have Griffin Jacks.
do still have Griffin Jax.
So I mean, you got like one guy in your pen. You have a ninth inning guy probably, but it doesn't really matter if who you have going in the ninth if you're already down.
Two things I want to add. Shane McClanahan has not thrown an inning since 2023. That's my bad. I just checked according to his baseball reference page. Two lines I want to look at. Junior Caminero, American League MVP, plus 2,700. Maybe a value play if you want to play that one.
Yeah.
As well as his over-under on home runs set at 35.5 for a guy who hit 40 last year.
Yeah.
Moving on. Both calling the under on the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah.
Baltimore Orioles, 85.5 games, coming off a disappointing year. New manager, added in Pete Alonso, traded away Grayson Rodriguez for Taylor Ward. Chris Bassett, Shane Baz, Ryan Helsley added into that back end of the bullpen. First things first, I want to talk about, is this rotation good enough to compete? Available starters include Chris Bassett, Shane Baz, Trevor Richards, Kyle Bradish, Zach Eflin.
Do they still have Tyler Rogers, or did they lose him this offseason?
Trevor Rogers, yeah.
Trevor, sorry, yes.
Yeah.
Or
Trevor, yeah.
I don't think this rotation is good at all. I think this rotation is honestly terrible. I mean, Chris Bassett was a 5 for the Blue Jays last year. Baz hasn't really looked great for Tampa. Bradish is just hurt all the time. Another guy who can't give you a full year. I feel like he's constantly battling injuries. And I mean, Zach Eflin will always have a soft spot in my heart, but he's not really a 1 or 2 or probably even a 3 anymore at his age. I think this offense can be good enough to score runs. I just don't know how much their pitching is going to help them.
Following up here, Grayson Rodriguez obviously moved this offseason. He'll be a Los Angeles Angel. Looking at the career numbers, a 4.11 ERA, did not pitch at all in 2025 in the major leagues. A 4.11 ERA and has struck out 259 batters in 238 and 2/3 innings. Do you think that the Baltimore Orioles gave up too quickly on a Grayson Rodriguez, who is a very highly touted prospect?
I do. I think he showed a lot of life with this team. I think he was a good pitcher for them. I'm not saying I don't think he was an ace by all means. I don't think he was a guy where when he took the mound, you were like super scared about it if your team was facing him. But he could go out there every once in a while and get you 6 innings of good baseball. And I think they did give up on him, especially with a lineup like you have, bringing in a guy like Pete, who you know can get you 40 homers, having a big Gunnar Henderson, who is a superstar in this league. I mean, really trusting in Samuel Basallo to come back, hoping that Taylor Rogers works out for you. I think this offense has a chance to score runs. Again, hoping that Adley has a bounce back here. I mean, that was his worst year offensively last year. You hope that you're not going to see it again. But there's just something about this rotation that scares me a lot. And I think that they might pitch them out of games.
Especially, I think, adding Ryan Helsley. We saw his struggles last year after getting traded at the deadline to the New York Mets. He was not the same pitcher as he was in St. Louis. Also wanted to add Grayson Rodriguez, a 97 ERA plus with 100 being league average, so 3% below average for Major League Baseball in his career so far. I'm taking the under on the Baltimore Orioles. I want to believe in them, but I just don't feel that this is a team that can capture that lightning in a bottle they kind of had. And the biggest difference you see is a frontline ace. They had Corbin Burns, didn't want to extend him, made the playoffs 2 years in a row. Yeah, they were early exits, still got there. I believe both years they still won 93 plus games.
I believe they won the division.
They did win the division 1 year. Yeah, it was a struggle. I think Pete plays well in that park, especially last year, them moving the outfield fence and left field back in. I think he plays well with this team. Taylor Ward, I thought was a really weird addition, not really figuring you
Yeah.
really needed that extra outfielder, especially you have Colton Cowser. You had obviously they lost Cedric Mullins to Tampa. That was another guy we forgot to add for additions to Tampa. But I think that this is a team that goes under, uh, probably finishes fourth in the division. But I think Gunnar Henderson can still have a good year. Adley's in kind of a prove it year. Samuel Basalos in a year that he could be productive. Um, but I think that this is a team that, like you said, the pitching kind of ruins it.
Yeah.
We will also evaluate all these picks at the end of the year, so we can see if we know what we're talking about or if we're complete idiots, which there's a strong chance. Looking
Yeah.
at the last one, I want you remember what number I said to remember earlier on in this show.
Yeah.
What was the number?
Was it like 90 or whatever?
It was 90 and a half. The New York Yankees projected line was 90 and a half or over under on wins. This is where that comes into play. The Toronto Blue Jays projected over under wins is 88 and a half. Added in Dylan Cease, a guy we'll get into in a little bit. I think he's a little bit over. We'll dive into the career numbers in a second. And two guys coming over from Japan, Kazuma Akamoto to play third base, and Cody Ponce after losing out on Sir Anthony Dominguez, Chris Bassett, and the big one, Bo Bichette. So, why I wanted you to remember that number. Why do you think it is that the New York Yankees, who lost in a playoff series to the Toronto Blue Jays, have a higher win percentage or expected win total than the Toronto Blue Jays, the American League East the American League and American League East champions?
I kind of agree with Vegas. I think this line should be under the Yankees. I think they ran into the playing good ball at the right time. I don't think you're going to see another 30 homer year from George Springer. I think Vladdy at the end of the day is still going to be Vladdy, but I don't see any huge pickups that they made. I mean, Bo I think is a big loss for them offensively. Defensively, again, he's not a great defender, but again, that's a 300 average guy, and you replaced him with a guy who all off season we've heard about rumors of him not being able to hit high velocity, which in Major League Baseball is all you really see in Okamoto. I know he is playing for Japan right now in the WBC, and I don't think he's really been doing much for them to help. So I personally think this is a team that's under 88.5 wins. I think this is a team that's right around like the 85 wins. I think they could still slip into a wild card spot. I think this is a division that, just like the National League East, you could have three teams go to the playoffs here. But I just don't feel like, you went to the World Series last year. You fought one of the best teams we've ever seen, and you really didn't add anything.
I think the additions that they made were okay. I wanted to dive in a little bit into Dylan Cease's numbers, at least the last two. So we have a relatively recent sample size. With the San Diego Padres, he topped out at 357 innings, a ERA 2 ticks below 4 and a 3.98. In those 357 innings, he struck out 439. So I think that this is a guy we talk about a lot as being a little bit overrated. Uh, sure, I think there were moments he didn't perform, but I think that the difference is Toronto, maybe they paid him a little bit more than what you would expect, but I don't think they're paying him to be a number one. You have your kind of established number ones, Kevin Gausman, coming off a great year. You lost Chris Bassett. You add in Dylan Cease, Cody Ponce, bring back Max Scherzer. Still got a full year now. Shane Bieber healthy. I like this rotation. I like the lineup. I think, obviously it's asking a lot for Vladdy to carry this team kind of the way he did through that playoffs last year at times, not obviously the full time. I'm a huge fan of Ernie Clement. Love what he does. Been helping out a little bit with Team USA. I think this is a team that goes over. I think this is a team that can be in that, like you said, 2 to 3 spot in the AL East. I think that they go over the 88.5 win total mark. I think they're right there along 90 to 89 games. But I think that they finish ahead of the Yankees. It's my bold prediction. And I think that they finished probably 2 behind the Boston Red Sox if I'm just looking at rosters.
Yeah. I mean, again, we didn't even talk about their one guy that we both love, Trey. I mean,
Trey is Savage.
they need to hope for a big year from him and show that the playoffs wasn't just a fluke and that he can do it for a full year. So I think if they can, I don't see like this is the one line to me that I feel like they could easily go out and win 94 games like they did last year. But then I also feel at the same time they could go and win like 80, 85, and slip into that last wild card spot in the American League and still do some damage in this postseason like they did last year. But again, when you had a guy like Ernie Clement going up batting 600 in the postseason, you're not going to get that from him most likely.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see how our predictions shake out. Let us know if you think we got any wrong in the comments section. Let us know what you think. If you think that we're complete stuttering idiots, we'll see. Before we log off, let's take a look here. We got our wheel. So, here's going to be our rules for the 2026 season. Uh, we are going to have every week be spinning a wheel. Right now, because we just have the World WBC going on, we got the teams that are left slated to play at least on Monday. Uh, we'll spin the wheel. Both of us will have to make our own individual picks on whatever team this lands on. Minimum line is minus 150. That's going to be our rule. Minus 150 is the minimum pick you can make. And all these units will be in $10. We'll keep tabs on who's ahead, who's behind. We'll be posting these picks whenever we make them at some point on Twitter throughout the week, so you won't see our picks live here. But you'll be able to see them if you go follow our Twitter at Close on the Couch. Let's take a look here at who we are going to have. And we got Team USA, baby. Come on.
Oh, baby.
Like I said, minimum line set at minus 150. You'll see our picks on the Twitter at Close on the Couch. Be sure to give us a follow, like and subscribe if you liked. Leave a comment if you think we're idiots and you think that one of our picks was wrong, but I bet you're wrong. And thank you for watching. We'll be back same time next week. We'll take a look at the AL and NL Centrals and dive into a little bit more as we head closer to the championship game of the WBC. Anything else to say, Cole?
No, I mean, a great one. I think first one's in the books and first of many.
Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.